Hi, I'm Jennifer Schlickburn, the Game Pioneer, and I'm here today to talk about some things, well, some things, and to do a review of Twilight Inscription. First of all, I'm very, very sorry that I've been away for so long. I've had a really intense 2 months, and so I haven't been able to give this the attention that it deserves. Also, my son is no longer doing my editing, so I had to learn how to do at least some very basic editing. So for this show, or for this video, you're not going to get the music in the background, which is probably just as well, because the last time the music was too loud, and I apologize for that. But yeah, this is going to be a very basically edited video. As I get more comfortable with Adobe Premiere, then I'm hoping to incorporate overhead shot, you know, like most of the pros do. I also want to talk about, just for a moment, and you may respond to this in the comments, I am strongly considering accepting review copies, and the reason is, for one, it saves me money. I am on basically very basic budget plan, and so it would really help if I could get some of the games for review. You don't have to worry that I'm going to, you know, say something great about some game just to get review copies. You know, I've been buying games for 30 years. I can buy them for 30 more if that's what's needed. Although, the other thing is, I was thinking about it, and, you know, it's very difficult to heavily criticize a game. To say, oh, this is a bad game, you shouldn't buy it. Because what happens is that, either, you know, you're trying to force your friends to play this bad game, which they don't want to do, or you only play it once and you say it's a terrible game, and then people come back and say, well, you only played it once, and it just becomes a big mess. So I think I'm going to be okay, or hopefully people will be okay with me occasionally accepting review copies, which, of course, I will mention paid promotion, and I'll mention it during the review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's see. Today is Twilight Inscription, but I'm also going to be reviewing Wonderland's War, maybe even this week, depending on how many more plays of it I can get in. I'm also going to be talking about, well, or I guess I can talk about it now. The Essen games that I'm going to be acquiring and that you could presume are going to end up on the channel are Astra. That's the new Mind Clash family game. We'll see. I'm kind of, it's kind of like, I don't know about a Mind Clash family game, you know, when you're so used to Tricarion and Anachrony. So this should be interesting. Federation, which is supposed to be this fabulous, I guess it's worker placement, heavy strategy game. So, you know, that they were singing its praises at Essen. Flamecraft, which should have come today, but it's FedEx, so maybe it'll be here by next Monday. It's supposed to be this really cute, fun, kind of lightish game, so I'm looking forward to that. I've had a chance to play Great Western Trail Argentina twice and loved it. It added just what was needed to Great Western Trail, and when I actually get my copy, I'll be happy to do a review. Horseless Carriage, I'm a Slaughter fan. I buy everything they make. Still love Food Chain Magnate, one of my top 3. Lacrimosa, which is Mozart's Requiem game, which, again, got a lot of buzz. It's supposed to be really good, so we'll see. Revived, which a friend of mine has played and loves it. Also, Subrika, which is designed by the same designer that did Bitoku, which we really enjoyed from last year. Terracotta Army, I played. I was like, oh, I don't know about this. However, a dear friend of mine is going to loan me her copy, and I can have more opportunity to play and really firm up how I feel about the game. And last but not least, Tylatum, I guess, from Board and Dice, the tea guys, you know, Luciano and Tassini. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So let's get started with Twilight Inscription. Twilight Inscription is a roll and write, and you're going, Jennifer, I thought you liked heavy games, not those die rolling things. Well, this one, I don't think I would call it heavy, but it's certainly not like Railroad Ink, okay? In fact, it's a lot better than Railroad Ink. I didn't like it that much. Noting that, you are not going to confuse this game with the original Twilight Imperium game in any way, shape, or form, okay? So, yes, it has the branding, but it's not that game. It is, however, I would say probably 30 to 35 minutes a player. So for 4 players, you're looking at 2 hours. It supports 8 players, which in theory could work, except that everybody has to wait for the entire table to finish, whether it be 2 players or 8 players. And I can't imagine, or I guess I should say, I can imagine that you could have slow players among 8 players, which would make the game drag really bad. So I have played it with 2, which I wouldn't recommend, 3, which I think is my sweet spot, and also 4, which was interesting, and I think I would like to play it again with 4. So let me describe the game. Basically, each player starts with 4, hopefully you can see this, 4 sheets. This sheet happens to be the navigation sheet, but there's also an expansion sheet, an industry sheet, and a warfare sheet. There's your interaction. You get to attack the players to your left and to your right. It's sort of, you know, we're not talking about Axis and Allies here, so let's not get confused, but still, you know, you can affect their points in that way. So, basically then, what you're doing is you are circling like assets to be used later, or using those assets to get to other things. One of the earliest things that you're probably going to want is the ability to roll more dice. You know, in the dice game, we all love, you got to roll as many dice as you can. 20 sounds great. Actually, in this game, only the maximum is 6, but still, you want to be able to roll those 6 die, or have those 6 die roll, because it's just 1 die roll for everybody at the table. So you want to be able to use as many of those dice that are rolled every turn. The game makes you keep track of a lot of stuff, you know. So hey, I claimed this this planet, and now on my expansion, oh, this is not the expansion one. Of course, I wouldn't have this organized properly. I apologize. There's 8 sheets of everything, so it's kind of hard to find. Look at this. It's amazing. Well, I'll just cut this out. Okay, so the expansion board, for example, can use a lot of the things that are that you actually first get on the navigation board, and as does the industry board. On the other hand, the warfare board uses almost exclusively the resources that are rolled on the dice. That's what happens. You roll the dice. Those are the resources for your game. The resources allow you to get other assets which allow you to do different things. As I was saying, this is no Railroad Inc. The game takes some thought. It's interactive in the sense, like, for example, the player, well, it's interactive on the warfare, because what happens is you basically draw these ships, and, you know, you draw ships that can affect your left-hand player, and you can draw ships that can affect your right-hand player, or you can draw ships across, and that one ship affects both players depending on how you draw it. So basically, then that's the main. Well, that is the interaction. I don't know if it's the main interaction though. Each of the navigation sheets has a large mercantile wreck. So the first player to get there gets a lot of points. The following players get fewer points. There are always 4 objectives. The first player to make each objective gets more points. Everybody else gets fewer points. There's also, just like in Twilight Imperium, you vote. So, you know, depending on how many votes everybody has, and you can see how many votes they have before they assign them, you know, can affect other players. Although, for the most part, with the exception of the game we most recently played, the votes didn't seem to mean a lot. On the other hand, the game we just played, it was pretty significant as to whether or not, you know, the impact of pass or fail was pretty significant. So that was a pleasant surprise. The game uses chalk markers. Now, I don't know if you can use dry erase markers, because we haven't tried it. I don't, you know, game wasn't free. So, I don't want to wreck these sheets. Game comes with 8 chalk markers. Oh, also, each player is a separate faction, and as you can see, there's a ton of faction cards. So, the combination of how those faction cards interact with each other faction card, I think, is going to be the main source of variability in the game. I mean, yes, it's die rolls, but the die rolls are kind of limited. There's only 3 different symbols that can be rolled on the dice, so it's not like, you know, you're rolling d6. So we have played it, what, 5 times now, and I've enjoyed every play. I was really surprised, actually, because I almost didn't buy it. I was like, Rolling Right and Twilight Imperium. You know, I don't play Twilight Imperium because I always feel in the time that I'm playing Twilight Imperium, I could be playing Advanced Civ or Western Empires or an 18XX. So it's hard for me to just say, oh yeah, I'm going to give up on those 2 and play Twilight Imperium instead. Rolling Right, I haven't liked any Rolling Right. I did not like Railroad Inc. I didn't like, I guess it's Welcome To. I do like a couple of Flip and Rights. I do like London, Next Station London. Noting that that's really a puzzle game. It's not, there's no interaction at all. Get On Board New York London had more interaction, but it was very faint. You know, you don't, again, you don't think you're playing Axis and Allies. So, like I said, I was a little reluctant, but now I am very glad that I did. And you know, again, maybe, you know, look at some reviews on Board Game Geek or talk to other people to make sure it would be a good fit for you. And I'm happy to answer questions in the comments as well. Well, I hope this has been a good video for you, has been helpful, and I do hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for watching.